Do you see it there?
Yes.
This is a comment on a live stream we did 2 weeks ago. And it's a follow-up joinder question. I'll just read this out loud and let's see if we can figure out what the question is. I am the joinder. I had the other parties served in the courtroom an hour before the hearing. Before the hearing. When the hearing was called, joinder orally claims, meaning him, orally claims joinder is mandatory under the rules of court. The minor child is listed as a protected party along with the petitioner, who is the mother. The joinder offered the proof of service and summons. I think that means the proof of service of the joinder and summons and all joinder documents to the court, and the court refused to accept the filing and told joinder to sit down. I immediately filed all documents after the hearing, and the matter was calendared after the main case, I think, main could of the action was resolved. The main maybe issue? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it sounds like there was another matter on calendar regarding custody and visitation that he wanted to be involved in.
Yeah.
And so he didn't file his paperwork before the hearing. He showed up in court and tried to file it like maybe in the courtroom.
Yeah.
And that generally doesn't work. And then in his little explanation here, he indicates that under CRC, California Rule of Courts 5.24E, it's mandatory that he be joined into the case. If you pull up California Rule of Court and you look at, instead of the subsection E that he's referring to, you look at subsection D as in Delta, it makes it very clear that you have to file this motion, and it has to be a notice of motion, and everybody has to be given an opportunity to be heard, which means filed 16 court days in advance, and then they have an opportunity to file a response. And without doing it, it would be improper for the judge to hear the joinder, and it sounds like that's what the judge did. Although I don't know. I mean, there's other things the judge could have done when he found out that this particular person has custody of the child. I mean, I don't understand how he has custody of the child when the other two parents don't. But
he doesn't actually say. Does he say he has custody? Oh, let's finish. He says, what could joinder, which means him, he says, what could I have done to prevent the main issue from being heard that day without him, without me, he's saying. I'm Googling abusive calendaring and not finding anything. This is a year-plus old issue. This happened a long time ago. But I'm still frustrated by not being allowed to join an action involving a child that I have joint legal and physical custody of. So apparently he did have, I don't know if this is a he or a she. Let's say it's a he. Physical custody. So he did have physical custody like a year ago of a child, and there was a restraining order protecting the child. So
it's not
he thinks the judge should have continued the matter that was being heard that day until after the joinder was heard.
If it was a restraining order, the judge might not have been able to, or not have been allowed to continue it. So I don't know.
Yeah, because the restrained party has a right to have a hearing within 10 days, I think. Is that what you're talking about?
Right, within like 25 days of the temporary order.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense how a court could go forward if somebody has legal custody of a child. There's something that just doesn't make sense here. I was sitting in one yesterday in child support court, and then we weren't all sure what was going on, and then the commissioner had to pull up records from juvenile court, and there were like multiple cases involving these parents. And at the end of it, he finally said, I'm not quite sure what's going on, but here's how we're going to deal with it going forward, and you guys need to provide some additional information about this, and this. But these things are very difficult to untangle from a procedural standpoint. And I don't know how he would have had legal custody and not been involved in a hearing regarding custody, because under the UCCJEA, somebody that has legal custody has to be involved. So there's something missing here, and I don't know what it is. But this just doesn't seem right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a year-old issue, so I don't. It sounds like it's it's over with, and he just was. It's still bugging him. It sounds like.
Hard to say.